It works. I don't do this, so. Okay. This is our time delayed broadcast. Uh-oh. See, if we're gonna hang threads, I'm gonna switch to the hotspot. Tom 40, welcome to the chat. You're first up. I have no setup on this whatsoever, so I just learned how to use the basics of OBS. So I guess now, it's really distracting to watch yourself time delayed, by the way, so probably should just remove that.
Yeah, I'd rather not see that.
Do we want to see anything? Should probably have just put that on there, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should I change the title?
What is the title?
Probably. It was formerly addressing the Emax community. Now it's like dev reveal, right?
Dev slash
leadership reveal.
Emax
creator
team. This is how you can tell this is not marketing, guys. This is raw. All right, so we got to be able to.
That totally
I know, right? It's so distracting. You know, there's this technology that they use in crowd suppression where they broadcast like the same audio.
Now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know, broadcast the same audio at like a 50 or 100 millisecond latency, and it cancels out your ability to talk. It's remarkable. It's so distracting, right? So because we want to be able to look at chat, so I guess I'll like.
Can we see just the chat without?
Yes, we're gonna do that. I guess.
Can you guys hear us?
It sure seems like it, because otherwise a bunch of people would be like, "We can't hear you."
Yes, sir. Good. You guys ready?
They probably have a delay on. Isn't that just how streaming is? I don't know anything about that. We hear you. All right. Loud and clear.
Excellent.
All right, you guys ready?
Cool. I believe we are.
All right, let's get this going. Hey, Emax community, we appreciate your patience today. We know there was a little bit of confusion on our end and a lot of back and forth. As you can imagine, we have been dealing with a lot of updates. Obviously, the Floyd Mayweather fight last night. Our website got a tremendous amount of traffic. At one point, it actually went down. So there's been a lot of things that we've been dealing with, a lot of exciting things, things that we were going to also speak about tonight. My name is Steve. This is Giovanni. This is Josh. Gio and I are two of the creators. Josh is the new lead developer. And first, we'll do a little bit of intro of everyone so we can get to know us. Gio, you want to start?
Sure. Thanks, Steve. Yeah. Hi, my name is Gio. I come from the hedge fund space. I've had some significant experience just structuring nuanced securitizations and financing arrangements. Have been involved in the crypto community for a few years, and kind of had this crossover, had this opportunity to develop what we think is absolutely groundbreaking and really continue to lead this community into something that we think is going to be special and have real sustainability. And that's kind of my background here. I'll pass it off to Josh.
What's up, guys? Josh James here. I got involved with these guys like Thursday afternoon. I've been involved in the crypto space since like 2010, 2011, so like about as early as it can get. Got a lot of experience in venture, done a lot of different development work in the process of looking to fund a bunch of different DeFi technologies and companies in the space. So linking up with these guys was fantastic. Obviously, we've had a lot to address and a lot of different mechanics. So I've done my best to inject myself in ideally the least abrasive way. I know it's been pretty disruptive. And these guys have been awesome. Asked me a ton of really strong, detailed questions. Hey, Yamis. Yeah, so that's me. I'm just here to fill some technical guidance and lend some organizational clarity.
And once again, my name is Steve. I've been an entrepreneur and business owner for the last 20 years. My specialties revolve around business development, strategy, marketing, brand development. I've taken startups and businesses and brands from the ground up. I've been involved in cryptocurrency since 2016, and I think Ethereum Max is a super exciting project. As soon as I found out about it, I wanted it all in, and I'm really excited for a lot of the updates that we're going to be rolling out in the near future. So, and I think it's going to be beneficial not only to the token, but more importantly to the community. So, we've been collecting a lot of questions that we received throughout the week, throughout various chats and forums, and we'll continue to do these live chats on a regular basis, just for additional transparency with the community. We're not sure of the platform it'll be, because this is our first one, but what I could tell you, like we do with our token, we'll continue to improve upon it. So the first question from the community was actually from earlier this week. So there was a lot of concern that Emax would not make it past this weekend. People thought they were going to sell off a lot. There was going to be a lot of spikes. So this one's probably for you, Giovanni. What are your thoughts on after the Mayweather fight? How do you think it impacted not only the community, but how do you think it's going to impact Emax in the future?
Yeah, no, great question, Steve. So obviously coming out of the gate, we really wanted to show what type of reach we have, what type of relationships we have, and we were able to forge this really landmark agreement with the Mayweather team, establish our initial use case, show some of the utility and things that we can do for the future. And we know that we're fighting some skepticism in the community and really in the marketplace. And people are wondering, hey, are you guys really just launching all of these ambassadorships and working with all these influencers and really just in preparation for this one event? And we absolutely don't see it that way. We look at this as really the launch point. And I think what we are going to be producing and showing to the community in the coming days, weeks, just the additional use cases, additional things that we're going to be doing for the community and for the utility of the coin, and just different programs that we're going to be rolling out. I think that'll really show the commitment and sustainability that the coin will have. Obviously, we saw kind of a little bit of volatility, which was kind of expected, but we're very happy kind of where we stand, and we think there's really some great prospects moving forward, with everything we have on tap.
Yeah, I can't agree more. I mean, a lot of people thought that the coin was going to go down almost to zero, but if the one thing that the token continues to prove is that it's really resilient, similar to its community. So I think I speak for our team that we're really excited that it was more or less stable, not from an extremely volatile standpoint. So overall, we're extremely excited with the outcome of the Mayweather fight. Next one's a development question. So there seems to be a lot of questions, we'll say, around the development teams, changes, technical aspects. So Josh, I was hoping you could provide clarity as it relates to the development team, what changes are expected, why those happen, and what we can look forward to in the future.
Absolutely. Yeah, so any of the more technical people will be really intimate with the term DevOps, which is absolutely paramount in this process. That has to do with like version control and a bunch of other like CI/CD stuff. It is essentially the process by which multiple developers or programmers work on the same thing. And so you could think of this as very synonymous of like you got a Google Doc, right? And you got a bunch of people that want to go and create it. Also a musician, right? So that you play in music, things kind of change, and sometimes you improv, and sometimes you have a performance, right? So I think what we had here is a lot more improvisation, and we're trying to get more coordinated we're in rehearsal mode. Really good question here, completely tangential. Has the code been verified to be safe in case of a flash loan attack? So the Twitch stream I just did, because Discord was the primary channel that we just did like a couple hours on, addressed the majority of at least this week, and we kind of touched on the next couple months. But a big goal of this week, I'm bringing into Komi, which is a blockchain audit company. They work directly with Coinbase. They're subject to a lot of compliance and regulation. We have just an enormous amount of depth as far as a bunch of the validations. And so to address that question and any other safety mechanism, stability, vulnerability, that audit is going to be really significant in giving us like a foundation. Obviously, I'm bringing in another couple developers to start implementing some of these different features. And the other most significant agenda item for this week is getting an understanding and a validation of all of the holdings of the original founders, right? So we aim to make all of that public and transparent, and to account for the spread of misinformation throughout social platforms. And not just misinformation, but misinterpretation, where different team members would make different announcements that did not necessarily reflect what we were able to accomplish, right? So I want to make sure that doesn't happen ever again. And so that's just why you need DevOps, right? Because there should be a board where non-technical people can see here is the progress on these technical things, right? So in the course of this week, we aim to make all that transparent. We're going to have all of our official social accounts connected through widgets on the website. So that way you're going to be able to see, if it's on the website, it's from us. If it's not, probably disassociate with that. I can't account for every possible source of misinformation, but we're going to try our best to get a lot more protective of our community members in Discord and Telegram and, Instagram, Facebook. We're just going to, I'm not saying we're going dark, but, until we can get better guidance as to the types of marketing materials and how they coordinate with DevOps, we're not going to be as vocal on there. Obviously, there was just a ton of hype around the fight and around the weekend. And that's super good, but that also, that is a big source of that volatility, right? Because you have a lot of people that are, buying and they just expect this to be a pump, right? So the fact that we were able to stabilize at a really good price point, and we are actually 50% up on liquidity, right? Relative to like Saturday. So that is an enormous sign of confidence from people that, that liquidity does represent conversion from Ethereum in that price pair to Ethereum Max. So what that says is, regardless of the price, more people have wanted to get Ethereum Max with ETH, and I think that's super fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. So this is a phrase that everyone throws around. I'm just smirking because it's a point part annoying, part just tired of hearing it. But the phrase rug pull has been pulled, said a lot. So if you guys could kind of address this once and for all, nip it in the butt. Both Giovanni and Josh, if you guys could both address it from your perspectives. People are saying it. What are your thoughts on it? Validity, truth, and more importantly, how can the community feel comfortable and invested for the long term?
Yeah.
Emax.
Yeah. So okay,
Josh,
I'll kick it off there and address it from a financial and a technical angle, and then Gio, if you want to go ahead and take it from like an organizational and relationship angle.
Absolutely.
So there are a couple different mechanics. I made a Reddit post about this in the ETHEREUMMax subreddit to kind of try and summarize like the wealth of complexity into a few bullet points. And so like the simple explanation is we got to lock a bunch of the original equity from the founders, right? And what that means, it's a one-directional transaction. You send an amount of this token to an address that you don't control, right? And that address sends it back to you at a specified timestamp. There are, and I linked to a couple different examples, and someone had mentioned flash loan. There are potential protocol changes given how fast things are updated and versioned in the space that make it like just really worrisome, especially for a lot of the non-technical investors. Because what you're saying is, hey, you're putting it somewhere else and you can't get to it, and then you hope it comes back, right? So we want to make sure that like the process of the audit gives all of the investors confidence in doing that, and then that lock will also be a public announcement. So you're going to know, hey, all of these founders have this much, and they've said for at least 3 months, we're not touching it, and we can't touch it, and you can verify that, right? So that's a combination of the technical and the financial, right?
Can you explain a little bit how it's like physically impossible to even touch it once it's locked?
Yeah, it is a one-directional transaction, right? So that's like burn is really similar. Burn as a mechanic is you set it, to a dead wallet, right? Which means that when you publish that address, you publish that wallet, and you can renounce ownership. So once again, this is something that more technical people can verify and audit. Also, it seems as though we've just lost lighting.
It's right there. It's right.
Yep.
It's right there to the right. Oh, over more.
Right. So
Doesn't get any more real than this.
from
And we're back. And we're back. Okay.
yeah.
Even
So
up higher if you could.
from a functional perspective, right? It is not technically challenging to do that, but once again, there's a lot of operational and relationship mechanics about making that lock happen, right? So all that does is it says, here's our vote of confidence, but there are a lot of concerns about, hey, what happens if something goes wrong, right? And then from a more of a financial perspective, the new tokenomics are going to do a lot to prevent any type of pattern trading, right? So that's any type of, a lot of people say bot trading. I prefer to call it pattern trading, which is just algorithmically executed trades, because this is a micro cap, right? We are still super early stage. So that means anybody with like a couple dozen ETH can come in and they can cause any type of spike in increase, or they can cause any type of dip by doing a sell order, right? And all that is done, I mean, that's the same as what we looked at with like short ladder attacks with GameStop, AMC, and all of our meme stocks, which is a big reason why I'm much more involved in DeFi and the crypto space now. So those are the mechanics that we're able to apply as of this week. So the audit leading into the time lock, all of that going to be public knowledge and verifiable. And then also considering the new tokenomics that prevent any type of or at least they seriously reduce the value that pattern trading has.
Yeah, great. Thanks for the technical detail there, Josh. So I mean, look, I think this is something that from day one, obviously any new coin with the amount of new coins and tokens that get released on the market is always a question. And I think everything we've done from the start has really shown that we are trying to create sustainability and create something that's going to last and have a legacy. We obviously are doing everything we can for the community and showing maximum transparency. So as Josh mentioned, we're looking to lock the wallet. We're looking to do things that will give confidence to our holders, to our community, that we're here to stay. Even something like what we did with the fork, where we know how potentially difficult that was for some of our community members and holders. Just dealing with some confusion, and we struggled with it, but we truly believe that would be the availability to have as Josh mentioned, the ability to optimize tokenomics, to do things that again were long-lasting benefits. It cost us money to do that. Obviously we had to airdrop all the positions. That was an expensive process, but that's just part of our commitment to the community for the long term. So I think obviously, going back to the last question that I answered with regards to the Mayweather fight, a lot of people had the skepticism. Hey, is everything just kind of leading up, is crescendo to this one event, and then you guys are going to kind of look to maximize and get out? I mean, we're doing anything but that. I think everything we're doing is really just trying to build for the future. Like I said, we're taking the structural and kind of technical steps to be able to get there and to instill confidence in the holders. And I think what we'll be producing or releasing over the next handful of days, weeks, with our next use cases and different things and programs and initiatives that we're going to be showing, will show that this is not a one-trick pony. Like we're here to stay, and we're really looking to grow with you all as community members and community leaders and devs that we represent.
Great answer, guys. I mean, something that really excites me, especially about this dynamic that we have here, is that you have the super technical aspect, you have the business and financial aspect, plus you have the community aspect. So we're really strategic in terms of, the group on our end speaking to the community. And in terms of the most simplistic, how is it not a rug pull? We're going to continue to be super transparent, do these live calls, put ourselves out there. We want this to be, we want to be on a first name basis with people, if you will, in terms of getting really to know the Emax team and the Emax token. So the community was super excited about the 3x rewards. I mean, I was super excited about it, and just to be frank with you, I mean, it's been something that the community has been asking for quite some time. So, the team has been listening, so we implemented the 3x rewards. We announced it last night, right before the Floyd fight, which was a huge announcement. The amount of positive comments that we received across all social media channels was extremely rewarding, no pun intended. Mm-hmm. But it was great that the community came together and that we listened, and I think that's just the first sign of us really being able to gain some traction with this mutually symbiotic relationship that we have with the community. So that being said, Josh, can you speak a little bit to the technical functionality behind the 3x rewards?
Yeah, absolutely.
What users can expect, what it means on the back end?
Yeah. So 3, 3, and 3. Let's start with burn. It's the simplest, right? Once again, it's sending tokens to an address that's dead, meaning there is no control, nobody has control over it, right? That is a very easy, provable thing. All of it happens on chain, and it's pretty much out of the box, right? So touching on the reasoning behind it, it's a deflationary element, right? Which basically means that the circulation will always become less. And so this is the opposite of inflationary, where money can be printed, right? Actually, someone, I was discussing this, I think last night on Discord, and someone said, well, isn't crypto itself deflationary because you can't mint more of it? Or at least some of these tokens where you have a static issuance. And so like technically that's true, right? But I mean, relative to the circulation, introducing a 3% burn like that means that the volume of transactions should be lower. But as the volume of transactions goes up, there will be less circulation. Price increases relative to the price pair, right? So the idea behind that is provide some type of loss for the pattern traders. That's like the primary goal. Leading into the second of the three, which will be like the reflection or the redistribution, right? And so this is a reward for all holders. One of the most common things I've heard asked about how that's redistributed is, hey, is it relative to the size of the wallet or to the size of the holdings?
Great question.
Yeah, and so then the simple way to put this, right, is, if I've got 10 trillion Emax, right, and I know that because that wallet is really large, if we want to reward smaller wallets, all I have to do is split my 10 trillion into 1,000, 1 billion wallets.
True.
So there's not provably, a calculation or a formula or an algorithm or whatever, or a function that we can put together that would be that would be proportional. It's got to be a constant, right? So like, if you got 1 trillion, you're going to get that portion of the total circulation. It's a calculation there. So we'll publish that, and that will be part of the audit, right? So that's all going to be public knowledge. All that means is that holders get 3%, right? And then lastly, 3%.
Before we go there,
sure.
because some community asked me as well. So when we say transaction, is it just the buy and sell, or does actually transferring also count as a transaction?
Okay, yeah, we had brought that one up on Discord too. Let's talk about this chronologically. What we have to do first is make it for any type of transaction. So any transfer, and the reason being, we can't know which wallets belong to which entities, right? So if I go on Uniswap and I want to buy 10 trillion Emax from ETH, okay, and now that's in my wallet. I mean, I don't have to send that back to Uniswap to sell it. I can send it anywhere.
True.
And I can add 15 layers that become increasingly complicated to try to track artificially. So what we have to do as the first step is apply this ubiquitously. It has to be to any transfer, any transaction, and that's pretty significant, right? Because that means that that's also part of the reason everyone was like, hey, let's put this in before the fight. And I was like, guys, we have to start with you apply to everything, and that means if we want to offer like community rewards, right? Like, because there's just been so much passion and so much activity on each of these different channels. We want to reward a lot of the people that have been the bedrocks on those platforms, right? So I already recognize some of the names here that were coming over from Discord, and I was just mentioning to them like, thank you for helping me do this, because I've really just been dropped in the middle of all of this, and so we don't want to be subject to like a 9% fee on every small transaction until we understand how we're structuring all of this, right? So then, yeah, the last 3% is returned to the liquidity pool, which we want to upgrade to version 3. So once we have understood the protocol compatibility, then that additional 3% is returned to the liquidity. So that is just always going to incentivize more purchases and disincentivize pattern trading, which is I think we had Tidwin says what's being don't about day trading. Well, what's being don't is what's being done. Yeah. This, because now it means that if you want to go and you want to go and pump and dump, right? You're gonna lose 10% each time.
It's gonna cost you.
So yeah, if you're doing this with
Don't do it.
like our biggest pattern trades that we've been looking at over the last few hours have been like 30, 40, 50 ETH, right? So you really think that these pattern traders want to sacrifice 3, 4, 5 ETH a pop every time So the profitability is just much less to execute those patterns. And so this is the same kind of thing as like, you know, the pattern day trading protection, so to speak, that any broker, you know, they put in place is like, hey, you have to have like certain capital requirements. That's not because they want to protect you. It's because they want to make sure that they make fees off of you. And as soon as you're in a higher capitalization schedule, they have the capability of doing so.
So it's great that it adds to liquidity. Does that help in a positive light add to the stability of the token?
Yeah, so
At least long term?
each of these three do. Yeah,
Yeah.
each of these three do. So just generally speaking, if it's more expensive to make a transaction, fewer transactions occur, right? And so what we want to do is incentivize holding, and everybody that's holding is rewarded, and just eventually, you know, we layer on more and more structure, more and more features, more and more adoption, and you know, people are just more and more willing to get in.
Yeah, and I mean, to Josh's point, this will incentivize buying, incentivize holding, and disincentivize selling. And you know, I think that's great for the community. That's great for, you know, what we're trying to build, you know, in tandem with all of you, and what you know, our kind of vision looks like. So this is definitely a huge advancement, a huge announcement. I think we're all excited about it. I know feedback has been super positive, so
For sure.
we're very excited going forward here.
So obviously this is our first live video call. We're going to get much better at these because there's nowhere to go but up. But we're going to take some live questions now that Josh is going through to answer the community. Obviously there's already thousands of questions, so we can't get to all of them. So we'll try to get some ones that are, you know, tough ones, fun ones, get a little bit of diversity in terms of the questions. And Josh, dealer's choice.
Yeah, and what I'm trying to do is find one of the Discord mods so I can make a mod in this, because
We'll do
I
that.
have not set up absolutely anything here.
That's what I mean. For our next video chats, we'll have a moderator. We'll have
Well,
questions
so-
extracted from there.
I'm trying to remember
Gotta throw it dark.
who would show up. I'll give myself 10 seconds of scrolling, and then I might just give up. All right, there's the timer.
Well, I mean, one question that I've seen scan across the chat is, you know, how do we kind of stop these whales from selling, and like, kind of what do we do to kind of get rid of these early whales that have, you know, now kind of reared their head in recent days and week. Look, I think, you know, as I think we're, you know, a bit of a victim of our own success, right? I mean, we've obviously had a heck of a run these first couple weeks, and you know, along the way, there were people who amassed, you know, some pretty sizable wallets, and I think, you know, with that comes the potential for people looking to take profit that is, you know, I think a relatively short-sighted vision in our estimation. We think this is a long race, and I think people they have a, you know, a 3-inch vision in a marathon, but you know, obviously that's going to happen over time. And you know, I think what we can do as a community is you know, really just look to pad our own wallets in those situations where there is a dip. You know, there's absolutely no kind of micro event specific to Emax, you know, that I think has really been evident. I think there were people just kind of looking to take profits and things like that. You know, but I think, you know, what we've been able to show, as Steve alluded to earlier, is the resiliency of the token, of the community. You know, we had a turbulent Thursday, but you know, after what we saw happen, and you know, the way I think everybody bounced back in the community and actually ended up prior to, you know, one of these larger whales selling off, it was actually remarkable. So I think we can kind of take that as kind of food for thought, and just a lesson to be learned for the future. I mean, the more, you know, as Josh kind of outlined the 333 program, the more we, you know, kind of can buy and hold and be strong as a community, the harder it is for these whales to really hurt us as a community.
Well,
So,
and also, it's not necessarily fun if you're part of that big whale sell-off, but the good long-term news is they're getting out now, right? So
right.
we're not susceptible to that
Yeah.
sell-off damage in the future. So personally, I view it as a not a good thing, but it's good that it's happening now rather than later.
Absolutely. The last thing I'd want to jump in there, and I was trying to add this Reddit that I did with, oh man, we got 600 people here. I'm going to screenshot that actually.
There we go.
Man, it's so distracting. I'm saying, like, anytime you see yourself time delayed, it's so weird. So I wrote this Reddit post. Guys, if you could help me out by dropping that link in the chat, that's going to address all of the most common mechanics and fundamentals here that I've done my best to kind of summarize in a couple bullets here. But speculation, strong speculation that I have upon like preliminary analysis of all of the transactions early on is that like these guys, they listed on Uniswap, and there are all kinds of bots that just listen and look for new listings on Uniswap, right? And so what they're looking for are people that don't have experience, that are vulnerable. And so like if you're sourcing capital to add to like the ETH pair liquidity from a bunch of different investors, and those investors are, maybe not the most coordinated and technical. So then that accrual of ETH and the ETH pair might take a little bit longer, right? And so then in that period of time, these pattern bots can see, hey, it looks like these guys are trying to start a token. Looks like they're trying to add ETH to the liquidity pool. Let's go and buy as much as we possibly can because it looks like they're trying, right? And so then they make all of those calculations. Those are the same agents and bots that execute these other pattern trades. So it would not surprise me in the slightest if a significant amount of the sell-off wasn't anybody even in our network, but probably a collection of the adversaries that got in super early at super low prices, expected this to pump, sold off at some of those peaks, simulated a bunch of this major price action, and we've made it through, right? So I think there's going to be a fair amount of irony in the future when like we simultaneously prevent them from doing pattern trading, or at least make it unprofitable to do so. And at 10x's, not financial advice.
A lot of pissed off bots. You're saying.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
I don't know. Is it possible? I modded Phoenix and I forgot your island. I know you got a different Vanez or whatever your Discord handle was. Is it possible for you guys to pin questions for me? Otherwise, I'm seeing a bunch of stuff going in here, in and out. Let's scroll up a little. Tom says, how can the top wallet, this looks good, how can the top wallet only be receiving transactions upward of 10 trillion coins and only transfer to other dev wallets? Can you guys help me deconstruct that question? I'm having trouble understanding that question.
So, I guess what I can try to kind of decipher from that is, that top, top founder wallet, I believe, the only activity in it is going to be the original purchase or the airdrops post fork. There were some transfers out solely to the marketing wallet, as we've discussed and as we kind of gave guidance to the community on. But yeah, that's really the only activity there. That's going to be one of the wallets that will be locked, as we discussed. But yeah, I mean, if there's anything else you're looking for there, Tom, please let us know. But that's kind of the activity there.
Yeah, I got one from Bird's Head here, which actually looks really good. This is a great implementation question. Is there a workaround for the 9% when dealing with vendors, clubs, tickets? Otherwise, the 9% will be inhibiting.
Good question.
That's a fantastic
Great question.
Yeah. So. You want to do it first? This is more your wheelhouse in those relationships, right?
So look, I think one of the things that we've been kind of battling with is, what is kind of the true identity of our token, right? Our original Emax token. And, I think, obviously we started up showcasing one of our use cases and utility with the Mayweather tickets, and, with the sales we did at the jewelry store at Fountain Blue for this big fight weekend. And I think the results speak for themselves. I actually did over $1.5 million in sales at the jewelry store in Emax, which was very exciting.
That's crazy.
It went very seamless, and it was really pretty amazing given our kind of first large scale in-store event. But I think where we look at kind of the value creation and the kind of the rewards and incentivization for holding, that's kind of the direction, I think, with the kind of initial coin. But I think we have the ability to even say, okay, like we create our own ecosystem, and maybe we launch our our V2 coin, which is specific to transactions. So, I think we believe that we can create a massive ecosystem where anything we want to do across various different use cases can all be done in various coins. It doesn't necessarily all have to be the existing Emax coin. You may get a piece of the new, let's call it Emax Pay coin or whatever we're going to call it, with the original Emax holding, and we can optimize the Pay coin to be a stable coin where you don't have the fees that we have on the regular Emax coin, and we can optimize the tokenomics on the original Emax coin more for buying and holding. So I think we have a maximum amount of versatility in this whole ecosystem, and kind of our own environment where we're going to have the ability to have mixed use across different platforms. So we're very excited about it. We're going through a lot of different kind of gyrations and different options, and I think that's part of I know the community on the roadmap was a little less than enthused about not having actual concrete details in there, and some things were a little bit broad. But I think this is exactly the reason
But part
why.
of that was intentional.
And part of it was
Yeah.
intentional because, look, we burst onto the scene, and we obviously forged and showed you guys the type of relationships we can kind of put in place, and the amazing partnerships and JVs that we've been able to establish in such a short period of time.
I mean,
And
sorry, that's a great point. I mean, we are 3 weeks young. I mean,
Yeah.
people sometimes talk about Emax as
Pe-
if we're
people
like
forget.
6 months, 6 years. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, Mayweather. I mean, all the posts. I mean,
Mayweather,
it's
Kim Kardashian.
3 weeks.
I mean,
You
the
can't
list
grow a
go-
tomato in 3 weeks.
the list goes on and on. But I think the point I was getting at is look, like our reach is just getting started, and the use case and utility is expanding really by the day as we continue to have conversations with potential partners, and as we kind of build out our team. And Josh kind of coming aboard has been amazing, and there's been so much collaboration from a creativity perspective, along with our other partners and other external relationships that we've been forging. So I think the point is that there is so much to come. We have maximum amount of flexibility and optimization for all the different projects we want to do. So great question, obviously on the 9%, that would likely be prohibitive, but I think we will absolutely have fixes and optimization in future transacting, that we won't have to deal with some of those issues.
Yeah.
Is it safe to say that it's not our immediate focus, the transaction aspect?
Yeah.
Not immediately.
And again, I think just high level from a conceptual perspective, I think we wanted to show that we can be a transacting coin, and we can establish those relationships and have. And I think we've been able to do it in a responsible way where all Emax either being purchased or used remains in the Emax ecosystem, which is obviously very important for the volatility and price. So all of these things are I think are concepts that we wanted to kind of showcase, maybe not necessarily in the most efficient manner, even our current structure, which had the 2% fee, but certainly not maybe in the 9% structure. But we promise the community we are absolutely looking to optimize the ability to do that, and that I think more information and transparency in that will come out very soon.
Absolutely. One more thing to in support of all of that, like everything is about trade-offs, right? All of life is trade-offs because it's opportunity cost, and this is really exemplified in programming. So things must be one way or another, and so you can only optimize for certain paths, and what we're optimizing for right now is stability. So by definition, the same patterns or the same mechanisms and tokenomics that we're deploying here to prevent that type of pattern activity are not as like supportive of quick spontaneous transactions and merchant processing. But if you think about the fact that like a credit card company is going to charge 3% for all of those transactions, and that's a closed loop, that's not public, that's not blockchain. There is also the possibility of supplementing that with some type of like merchant processing fee. But regardless, our short-term actions are all dedicated to like finding some stability here, because there's just been so much momentum and we weren't able to solve for it so quickly, right?
Give and take.
Yeah.
That's it.
But that's also listening to the community, because the community wants reward, stability.
Yep.
So
Exactly. this is a good one. Oh, and it just disappeared. But there were several different questions about listing on a major exchange, and I think I wanna take that one over. So, I have, and I've gone through the listing process with both Binance and Coinbase, and even the process of showing up on something like just like a display like CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko or something. Each of these, they have their own processes. And as the company or the projects like Coinbase are more and more institutional and regulated, you have more and more layers of compliance regulation and things that you would just have to follow. And obviously, the things that we're putting in place this week, like the audit, with a company that has a first-party relationship with Coinbase, I'm just gonna say they set us up to be able to do so, right? But you gotta also recognize that if we are in those discussions, we could not say anything, right? Mm-hmm. So, and then just there's multiple mechanics behind the scenes there. So that I'm gonna stop myself from saying anything else.
I mean, but these applications are just unbelievably involved, and I think that's another asset that Josh brings to the table. It just from a technical aspect, the back end aspect, the business aspect, the applications are extensive, and we have a team dedicated to filling out these applications and dealing with the exchanges in terms of trying to expedite the process. But one thing that I do want to say is that we're more so focused on doing it right and doing it fast.
Yeah,
that's a great point, Steve. I mean, obviously, believe me, everything we do, we really want to lower the barrier for entry to get into this community, and we've heard all the complaints, and we understand that the Uniswap, which is the majority of users that are and holders that are entering through that entry point. Is difficult. There's a lot of steps, and it's confusing, and there's all kinds of settings that need to be inputted. So we've heard the community on that. We are doing everything in our power, and I can assure you that there's also certain applications and technology we're looking to implement even on our website, which will I think maybe even less technologically savvy individuals to join the community. So we're doing everything we can in the interim while working with these larger exchanges to kind of get moving forward on those applications. And as Josh mentioned, it's a process. We're still in day 21, 22 here of the coin, or of the token in the community. But we can assure you, we're working hard on the exchanges. We know that's what the community wants, and believe me, we want to deliver it more than anything.
100%. InstaRes says, I own a real estate brokerage. What do we need to do in order to get on board with accepting Emax as a form of payment and paying it out to agents? I'm just gonna say, check back in a month. And there are many firms that provide that type of bridge.
There's, to my understanding, there's actually already an agency in Florida that is doing it.
Yeah. So, those things exist, and the fact that you can transact through ETHMax and Uniswap, you just got to layer it on, right? So the more you layer on, the more interoperability there is, and there's a lot of pieces. This is a quick one.
And the one thing I'll add on to that is, obviously, the more use case for the token to be used for transactional as a mode of transacting. I think in the future, as we kind of optimize the way that's used, is something we'd be extremely interested in. I think everybody, from a vendor perspective, it's something we'd be willing to work with. But the one thing that we're cognizant of is, as I mentioned, really just we're very cognizant that new Emax that is either that a current holder is paying with or is entering into via an exchange is remaining within the ecosystem. I mean, what we want to really eliminate and avoid is all kinds of price volatility from new Emax being created and added in and then being taken out for conversions back. So I think we all have to just be cognizant of this point. But I think it's something that with time, as we kind of optimize our structure and our whole ecosystem, that we'll be able to work with a lot more vendors and it'll become much more widely spread and used.
Yeah.
Good point. And if you think about the cadence of conversation that we're having now, A lot of our focus is on the rewards and stability, which is super important, which is going to carve a great pathway for the future in terms of all these other use cases and utilities we want to utilize. So everything that we're doing now is very strategic and very intentional.
Yeah, yeah. I saw from Spreggy, and Spreggy, I know I saw that you had sent me a DM on Discord, and I just, I've been swamped, right? So how do you feel the audit will go? Do you have any early indicators that are positive or negative? Positive indicators.
Simple.
Okay, let's see what else.
Let's just answer questions like those.
Yeah, lightning round.
Yes.
Okay,
We should
yeah,
have a lightning
lightning
round.
round. That's what we're doing. Oh, we
like
gotta
that.
remember that there's a delay, so we're gonna get spammed. All right, be ready. Oh, here it comes. How many people, or how are people validating the blockchain? Understanding that this coin is proof of stake, have you dispersed the validation? Okay, so that is a question that touches on extreme fundamentals in a couple different directions. How are people validating the blockchain? So the blockchain is public information. Everything is transparent. It's all there, right? It just takes a particular set of technical skills to be able to look through that, right? And so that's why we want to bring in this firm, because they have a lot of reputation. The results of their audit are public, and it will have their endorsement, right? So for non-technicals that aren't going to take the time to go in and actually learn all of the Solidity language and how to read through a smart contract, and not just that, but like another thing I've heard a lot about is, proxy or beacon. And there's a really simple explanation here, which is just if you want to be able to make any changes, smart contracts, unless you build something into it, they are by definition immutable, meaning you cannot change them. Because that's what a blockchain is supposed to be, right? So you've got to add in an additional layer, and sometimes 2 or 3, if you want to have a gateway to get back there and add some type of additional function. So there are some things that are changeable and some that are not when you add that gateway, that beacon. This is a common process that's been around since I think 2017, 2018 is like 6 months or something after the Ethereum virtual machine was live. There's a suite of tools called Open Zeppelin, and I think also the library Truffle and a bunch of other any type of like DeFi toolkit. They have documentation on how this is done in the best practices, right? So it's really important to understand that the layers of complexity here are all knowable, but then it's like an application of time and effort, and a lot of that to become really familiar and intimate with all the mechanics. So that's why we want to bring on a third party that has that reputation, so you guys don't have to just trust us that we did it right.
Yeah, and we're doing this voluntarily, like we want to do it.
100%.
That question necessarily didn't qualify for the lightning round, but we're going to let it slide for the first one.
Zach.
Is Myth still cranking away? I'm not sure what that means. You guys know what Myth is? MITH?
One of the developers.
Myth, yeah. On Telegram, I believe, right?
Yes.
I'm assuming yes, because if I don't hear something from a dev, it probably means they're coding.
Oh, and I'm sorry, I can't answer that question. The answer is yes.
Yeah, perfect. It's not proof of stake. Oh, correct, right? Because if you think about all of the objectives in layer 2, it's about transitioning to that, and that's a broader thing for another time. If you go and look up like DApp Academy on YouTube, or you just search difference. Oh, there's a Simply Explained video. That's really good. It's like 3 to 5 minutes long with some nice animations. I endorse both of those channels because I've learned a lot from them myself, right? So if you wanted to dive in a little deeper, there's a 5-minute video from Simply Explained, just difference between proof of work and proof of stake, right? Is there a workaround for? Oh, it disappeared. But is there a workaround for gifts to avoid that transaction? So like again, I'm just going to circle back to like this is a mechanic that we have to put in place as soon as possible for price stability, because we are basically getting attacked, right? So for gifting, I don't have a good answer for you right now, but I will say, like, if you buy a gift right now and then you hold it and it goes up, well, that gift gets better, right? Or you make some profit on the gift that you were going to buy, right? Mm-hmm. So you could send a screenshot of an amount, and that's going to be just as good, right? So, let's see. Please clarify for the guys that called Mayweather photoshopped that we aren't CGI robots. How can you know that?
Yeah, I mean, if you saw us out there and you know, kind of what a landmark event that was. I mean, I you know, it didn't look like Floyd looked. He didn't look too photoshopped to me in the ring. Was he when he was beating up Logan there? So, now look, it was a great event, and you know, I just think it proved that, you know, everything we said was true. I mean, we you know, day one we announced the fact that we were going to be the only cryptocurrency accepted to purchase tickets for that fight. We were told by fan mail at the time that it was not true. It was photoshopped. It was fake. It wasn't a real deal, and we proved them wrong. And you know, I think a lot of people never thought the shorts would be worn. A lot of people never thought Floyd would endorse it. You know, wear the hat, wear our shirt, and you know, you saw at the Bitcoin conference. You saw you know, everything he did at the fight, the press conference, and you know, and we have some real goodies to come, I think, as add-ons from that fight. So stand by on that. But yeah, I think it was. I think that was a pretty great event, and it really showed that, you know, all of the haters, so to speak, couldn't really get through to us there.
Yeah, T. Gannon, what is the next big step that we are working on? The audit, the time locks of the founder equity. And then following that, the implementation of the 333.
3x.
Yeah. So, you know, those are the audit and the time locks are things that we got to put in place, you know, before we implement that, because we got to understand, you know, we got to run some basically like models or simulations. You know, got some strong data scientist people backing us here that we're going to run some simulations on to make sure that, you know, we test everything before we put it out, so we don't lock up half or however much and it, you know, gets lost, you know, because that would be kind of awful. When is the white paper released? I'm pretty confident that immediately following the audit, we should be armed with the tools to draft that. So let's just say, like, if not this week, next week.
Yeah, and just to give, there's already a couple pages written.
Right. I mean, you got to recognize that so many people use white paper to just refer to explanation. And in the end, if you go and you dive into the details of any smart contract, there are even tools, I think, sold to you. That's a modeling language. Anyway, there's some tools out there that will basically translate certain contracts into like readable language, into English, basically. And it's called Unified Modeling Language or Universal Modeling Language, something like that. And so then, like, a lot of the white papers out there are just marketing fluff, and that's become. Like, white paper in crypto right now sounds to me like brand ambassador, right? Where it's just like, it's a thing that people say because it sounds like it's useful or like significant, and it's really just kind of been like, you know, because this is coming from something that, like, I, you know, in like 2010, 2011, I read like the original Bitcoin white paper, right? And that's what a white paper is. You know, it's full of stuff that, like, you don't understand, right? And I think that a lot of the white paper, anyway, I'm gonna get off track.
I'm agreeing with you. It's almost like a verb now. We're almost coming up an hour, so let's pick the next. How about
what's your handicap?
Yeah, I heard I look like a golfer here. That was the look I was going for, so I'm glad I achieved that.
We'll pick 3 more questions.
Yeah, sounds good. Is Mayweather's hair photoshopped?
What was that, hair?
Are the original founders still involved? This is really important. Yes.
Absolutely.
All of them,
Yeah,
and that's what we're trying to consolidate here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone's involved, so explicit.
Yeah. What's the relationship moving forward with Russ, Davis, and Mayweather? That's your realm.
Russ, Davis, and Mayweather. You know, I think Russ, early investor, you know, and I think Floyd just kind of wanted to give him a shout out. But yeah, I think that's that.
Yeah. So we're doing, I guess we'll do, like, you know, maybe not 3, but like quick lightning. So we'll let's say wrap it up in 4 minutes on the hour, or on the half hour. That'd be perfect. You know, we addressed this early. I'll repeat again. Anything on the immediate horizon for a mainstream exchange, it's a thing that we work on that is absolutely, like, it is all of the most complex things about working with a traditional financial set of organizations, right? So, I mean, Coinbase IPO'd. And by the way, not financial advice, extremely overvalued.
None of this is financial advice.
Yeah, exactly, right? Not a lawyer. Like, I'm just a guy.
I don't know how to give financial advice.
Let's see. Hey, thank you. You guys have been awesome, by the way. Like, this has been actually, like,
very
really useful commentary here. All of this has been very, like, productive and supportive, not spam. You know, the things that I heard about Telegram, I don't use Telegram, but so I'm happy
One thing we could ask help of the community is there's been a lot of scamming going on lately, like an exponential amount.
Yeah.
If you could just help guide fellow community members just to the right channels, the right ways, that would be really appreciative. There's just honestly a lot of jerks out there trying to scam good people, and we can only do so much from our messaging and our outreach. So however the community can help would be really appreciated there.
Yeah, and one of the things that I made this announcement on Discord. What we're planning to do is we're gonna have a couple all hands with our Telegram team and our Discord team, and our other social teams, and we're gonna get a lot more strict about the guidance for how we're putting stuff out there. So you might imagine a ton of hype around everything over the weekend, but now we've got a lot of breathing room, right? So we got a window here where we can get a lot tighter. What I want to make sure is that we're going to increase the ratio of signal to noise, and we're also going to be doing a couple widgets on the website that link to our social, right? So if you ever are questioning, hey, is this coming from an official source, you'll be able to validate that pretty quickly on the
Go
site.
to the website.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How long does the audit take to be completed? That is a question I posed to their team, and obviously their answer is it depends, right? My expectation, based off of everything I know about this space, it should be able to occur inside of this week. Once again, I'm really trying to be explicit about not giving concretes because I don't want us to not meet deadlines in the way that's kind of been the trend. But I'm pretty confident this week, and once again, if not this week, next week.
You see a question from Mystic there from Telegram?
I think there was. Oh, this one disappeared. More recent. White. Not this one, right?
No.
We answered this one. My company started accepting Emax. Explain to everyone how big it will be when tons of small, medium businesses begin doing this, even large corporations. That's a good question. Adoption is liquidity.
Yeah,
And
I think just organically, we're operating kind of from down in Miami right now, and we've seen organically, different vendors, different people are actually exchanging Emax. It's not something that we've even pushed or something that we've tried to, kind of broker, but it's just become more and more adopted across the community, and it's really exciting. And I think we mentioned something about the brokerage firm that is accepting Emax for payment for houses in Florida. And again, not our doing, but just showing how much Emax is becoming part of the community, and it really is, something that's kind of here to stay.
Yeah, because some of the payment things we've come across it's community driven. They've decided upon themselves to accept Emax as a form of payment. So
Yeah.
that's super rewarding.
I think you can buy Jordans now in Emax, so check it out.
nice. I'm about to convert all of mine to closet full of Jordans. Okay, so we said had one more. Anticipating putting a cap on circulation supply. That is a natural byproduct of the tokenomics we're instituting. Ginger John, we've addressed this a couple times, bruh. Joey, thank you. Nice hat, Gio, obviously. I was drunk and accidentally sent Emax to the dev's wallet. I don't know if we could ever prove it. Can I get an Emax hat, please? Oh, I think you were the dude that showed up in the Discord. DM me on Discord, bro. Are the developers and the team members going to post their addresses? That's part of what we're doing with the time lock, and also what a byproduct of the audit. What does the audit do? It's a third party that has a ton of experience, and they just go through it and they're like, does anything suck? Are there any big holes or red flags? And then they post that as an example.
Dude, you're kicking ass and taking names with this lightning round.
Yeah, explain what you all do with SMB and Fortune 1500. The same thing as any finance has ever done, any currency has ever done. Want Emax gear? Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that.
Yeah, any big burn? He said, answer Andres' question. I don't know if I got it. Any big burn besides the 3%? No. Reach out to credible and reputable crypto analysts. That's what the audit is for. Any chance of a parlay with top 20 holders? I'm gonna say that's pretty much almost all in network. Otherwise, that's part of analytics we're about to be running, big data. When does 9% go into effect? Either this week or next week, probably next week, contingent on the audit. Are you rolling out incentives besides the 3% for people that hodl in the future? Yes. Not defined yet. How about a quick yes or no? Is Mayweather ongoing with Emax? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think we obviously showed the relationship we have with Floyd, and I think you can look to see things in the future. Absolutely.
Yep. I think we're gonna call it there, guys. I appreciate your time.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Well, we really enjoyed it. I hope you did.
Yeah, Emax community, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. This was our first live video call. They're only gonna get better from here. One day we're gonna have like a fancy ESPN set. But we really appreciate the community, the support. Happy to put a face and name with everything, and we really look forward to doing more of these moving forward. We'll also have more notice in the future in terms of the channel and the times, and just anything we do to continue to build trust and transparency. But we're really excited that everyone's part of the community. So thank you so much.
Yep. Everyone pose for a photo. Hey, if you want to be in the screenshot, I guess we gotta pose and then wait 15 seconds,
Yeah.
right? All right. So we're gonna make pose, wait 15 seconds, awkward silence while we wait for the delay, and then hard cut. Ready? That's good
All
enough.
silence.
Oh, silent cut. I don't know what the button is for that. Where's my OBS?
Cut.
Awesome. Thank you everyone so much. We
See you
really
guys.
appreciate it.
Bye.